I wanted to talk about a couple of winter mistakes. Now, I normally leave my waterfall running all winter long. I made the blue jays mad. Oh, there's a kestrel. Okay, I didn't make the blue jays mad, the kestrel did. So let's talk about the winter mistakes. I came in and I cleaned out my filter. I normally leave the waterfall running all winter long. But this year, I was gone for a few days, and apparently a cold front came in and the wind picked up and it blew a lot of leaves into the pond. When it did that, apparently the intake on the water filter for the pump got plugged up, and the pump was just barely moving any water, but I already had a layer of ice on here. Now, I don't have any fish in here, so it's not a real big problem, but I wanted to get an early start working on the pond. So I put a bubbler in here since the waterfall wasn't working. I added a little bubbler to it. That was working great. Kept a nice little place open in the middle of the pond. But what I didn't count on, and this is where you can avoid this mistake, I used a 3/16 tubing, and when the ice grew around the edge of the pond, it squeezed that off, and so then the bubbler quit working. The pump got real noisy is what my first alert was. So I came over, and I'll show you the pump. I'm not overly crazy about this pump, but when the waterfall wasn't working, I just wanted to get some air circulating so I could keep some of the ice open. And I'll show you the pump, what it looks like. Once I realized what had happened, I bought some of these little blue balls, little blue air stones. I've got 2 of those in there now. I made just a tiny little hole. Let me show you what that looked like now after running for about 2 days with these little air stones in there. Okay, that's how much. The hole was just barely big enough to drop these in. I just knocked a little hole in the surface, dropped these in. And now I think actually the other air stones are working again because the ice along the edge of the pond melted, so it unpinched those other hoses. And I'll show you the little pump that I have. Now, this is not really an outdoor pump, so I'll put it under this bucket, and that's where some of the noise is coming from. Now, eventually, what I'm going to do, give you a closer look at that, and it's running into that little manifold right there. Eventually what I'm going to do is relocate that to the porch and build a little enclosure for it to kind of suppress the noise. So I really said all of that to say this: if you have fish in your pond, you need to keep the water open, keep some air moving. The waterfall usually did that for me, and I actually kind of like the way the waterfall looks with ice on it. But this year, for whatever reason, the filter got plugged up. This is a workable solution, putting the air stones in there. Just don't put the hoses in there where they can get pinched off by the ice. Just throwing some mistakes that I made, so maybe you don't make them. If anybody's here, I appreciate it. I'm gonna throw a couple other videos up over here. I'll catch you in one of those or catch you down the road.